This time tomorrow, there'll be a lot of evaluation of the summit between Biden and Putin. President Biden, meanwhile, flip-flopping on his description of Putin as a killer. Now calling the Russian president a worthy adversary. Critics suggesting this shows possible weakness ahead of their meeting tomorrow in Geneva. Mollie Hemmingway, senior editor, Federalist, and a Fox News contributor. Mollie, good morning to you. Saw a tweet you sent out last night. I'll get that in a moment. But first, I'd like to take you back to March of this year with George Stephanopoulos and ABC News. Watch.
You said you know he doesn't have a soul.
Well, I did say that to him, yes. And his response was, we understand one another. I wasn't being a wise guy. I was alone with him in his office. That's how it came about.
So you know Vladimir Putin. You think he's a killer?
Mm-hmm. I do.
So that was then, and this was yesterday from Brussels, Belgium.
He's bright. He's tough. And I have found that he is as they say, when he used to play ball, a worthy adversary.
Okay, so you tweeted last night, I think your words were a huge walk back on Putin. Explain.
President Biden couldn't have been speaking a bigger game, calling the Russian president a killer. You might remember that led to the Russian ambassador being recalled to Moscow, something that hadn't happened in a very long time. Just a real big diplomatic faux pas that wasn't matched by anything policy-wise. I mean, when you think about having an aggressive policy toward Russia, you don't kill your own energy pipeline and you don't help them finish their energy pipeline through Germany, which is what the Biden administration has did. It's kind of been all over the place, but now he's just moved into straight up flattering of Vladimir Putin. When months ago he was calling him a killer.
Listen, about an hour ago, Dana and I were speaking with Karl Rove about the lack of a press conference jointly. Apparently Putin will have his message and Biden will have his, and they'll do it separately. What do you think of that strategy?
It's just, the danger is that Vladimir Putin is extremely effective at dealing with the media, and he is kind of a troll in chief over there in Russia and does a good job of getting Biden's number. And you would like to see Biden demonstrate some strength. But again, this is really something that needs to be done in policy more than rhetoric even. And it's policy where this administration is not showing much strength. And that continues with the theme of what we saw in the G7 summit, where the Biden administration essentially gave European liberals everything that they wanted.
Speaking of trolling this week, Putin said, you know, you talk about U.S. election interference, talk about recent cyber attacks. Quote, I'm surprised we've not yet been accused of provoking the Black Lives Matter movement. End quote. That's from Putin, and that would support your theory he's a troll.
Well, the thing is, actually, if you recall, in 2016, the media did not report accurately the precise nature of Russian meddling. They made it seem like the Russians only interfered to support Donald Trump, when in fact they were interfering to just sow chaos. Russians have done that for a very long period of time, literally like 100 years. We made a big deal about it in 2016, but it's something that they've done for a long time. And they would say they've done it in response to how Hillary Clinton involved herself in their parliamentary elections in a few years back. But again, this is a nuclear adversary. We want to tread carefully, but we also want to understand that they're not the threat that they were decades ago. We need to be reoriented toward China. And so much of the foreign policy establishment seems to think that we are in the 1980s and that Russia, the Soviet Union, is still in existence. And that's not appropriate given the very real threats that are facing the world.
One last question, Mollie. There's been a lot of buildup to this meeting. I can't even remember one that's had 8 days of pregame warm-ups here. And then Axios had the report overnight last night that he's huddling with other advisors trying to get a game plan together. Why do you believe the White House thought it was so important to give this, an 8-day windup?
It's unclear. In general, you have seen throughout this administration that there hasn't been a real cohesive foreign policy. You remember that meeting in Alaska where with the Chinese officials that didn't go very well. The Americans seemed unprepared. Part of this is about not having a cohesive policy that makes sense. Say what you want about the Trump administration, that national interest foreign policy, this very focus on whether something was in America's interest or not, provided a clarity for the world that is not present now. We are seeing with the Biden administration, they seem to be a return, a dragging back to that Obama era approach of very much a focus on Russia, or not thinking about the threat that China poses, not having the same position toward Iran. But it would be good for them to get some clarity pretty soon, just for the world's sake, but also, so people know what they're dealing with. But the thing that they're not dealing with is thinking about what's in the Americans' interest, the American taxpayers' interest, whether it's in the American taxpayers' interest to be funding so many high troop levels and European defense. These are things that need to be clarified soon.
See where we are in 24 hours. It certainly will be interesting. Mollie, thank you. Mollie Hemmingway with her input today. Thanks,
you.
Mollie.